On Wednesdays at this time, we check in on the adventures of Dale and Jerry. We say good morning to you both.
Hi, Jeff.
Good morning, Jeff. How
How's
are
it
you?
I'm well. How are y'all doing?
We are doing excelente.
But this getting up early on Wednesdays is kind of
First thing I said this morning, I don't want to get up this early. This is the only day of the week that I get up.
We could we could pre-record these on a Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
Even more.
I have to have something. I got to get out of bed once a week anyway, right?
Now that the weather's turning, you won't be able to hit the links as much. So.
That's right.
And he's driving the poor dogs nuts.
Yeah, they don't even want to go ride with me anymore.
Usually they're asking you to go on walks, and now you're asking them.
No, I'm saying, come on, let's go. And they're like, no, we went like 4 times today already.
Oh my gosh! One of the things that we want to talk about is the involvement. The city is getting the community involved tonight.
What a cool deal!
With Shelton Out Loud.
Yeah,
for sure. 6 o'clock at the Civic Center, and it's going to be a big event. I think a lot of folks are going to be in attendance. And last week, the Chamber put on the State of the Community, and Commissioner Schutte, as well as Commissioner Dick Taylor for the Port, and Ryan Wheaton for the city spoke on a lot of great things that are happening. And these seem to be coming forth a little bit more. But, Jerry, you were mentioning as a county resident, you'd like to see something like this in the county.
Right. And, when I look at what they're asking, and yet they're going another round, they, being the county commission, have instructed Pinter to draft up another memo to the electeds and department heads as to what their guidelines are for doing their budget. What happened just recently was a meeting with all the department heads and the electeds, and they got it back. They got feedback from those people who are in charge of those budgets about the ability to meet their commitments and, what's required by law, RCW, and saying that the budgets didn't support being able to meet that commitment, and that the county's job is to regulate the budget, but the county commissioner's job, but the electeds are required to state what they need to run their departments. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily what they're going to get, but what is needed. So they're kind of caught in a quandary that says, wait a minute, I have to tell you what I need, and then we can decide from there what we're not going to provide. But for me not to tell you, and this is kind of the situation that the sheriff always gets in. He's been the most vocal. Well, recently, others within the departments or within the county have identified what they need, and they spoke up pretty loudly as I hear it. I wasn't at that meeting, but I did talk to a few individuals there that said, we have to tell what we need. If we don't tell what we need, then we're in violation of that. Mm. And then what we get for money determines what we can actually provide. But if you don't know what we need, how can you be sure that everything that is required by RCW is funded, fully funded?
They'd have to do a bunch of these outreaches all around the county to get people involved, I guess, to talk about this.
Yeah, and so I did a little searching around and looked to see who had strategic plans. Because the other part of this is that how does the commission ensure that they have gave enough information to the department heads and the electeds so that they're going in a unified direction to help support the needs of the county? I have seen back from the county some notes that came from a earlier meeting that they had to talk about, I'm losing the words. But anyway, what came out with some of those priorities that they identified have dropped already, no planning. If you want to see a good strategic plan document, go to the PUD1 website. And they identify about 6 areas of focusing, and then underneath those areas, they've identified what they're doing and who's going to do it. And this, in essence, is what rolls into what you need for a budget. that sounds like what the city has done. So I'm very interested in seeing what the city has to present.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do that, how do you know where your money is going to go and if you have enough and what those priorities are? And these are the issues that are going to come out with the on the ballot for approval of an increase in budget. If you don't know, if you haven't a plan where the money's going, how can I be assured as a taxpayer that you're going to spend the money in the best way to support the public
Sure.
and public safety, public health, etc., instead of a department that provides information to the commission does nothing for the public. Anyway, just a little thought.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Me, I hiked to a new vantage point to see the High Steel Bridge last Thursday, and then I
You
crossed.
take those pictures on their page?
Yeah, and then I crossed over the valley and went and took another longer hike to get a vantage point of the Vance Creek trestle.
Well, you stayed far enough away from, because you're supposed
Well, that was as close as I got was that picture.
Sure.
So now my next plan is to go to the edge of the trestle and look at it and take a shot down the tracks, but we're not supposed to be. I think it's private property.
There's a
That's
warning
what I'm
to
saying.
911.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You got your photos. You're well enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
You're
far away.
Firmly well within your confines.
So that was where the dog stopped talking and riding with me. That was a substantial hike, 2 hikes in one day, and long drives out to the middle and gravel roads. They don't like any of that. So
as fall comes upon us,
Yes, sir.
What are some of the things that you guys are thinking about? Are you thinking about doing anything, going anywhere? Ocean, maybe see as the winter storms come in, stuff like that.
yeah, we're gonna go to the ocean, and we got pumpkin carving coming down the pike with the grandchildren,
grandkids.
and yeah,
That's fun.
just some of the standard fare, and we don't have any. We haven't put away the strawberries or tomatoes yet. They're still blooming.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because we have a strawberry.
I just ate one yesterday, and I've got about 8 of them or 10 of them on the vine.
2
So
months ago, we tore out all the strawberries. We cut everything down. It says, "Oh, the season's done."
Yep.
and now
They have flowers.
I
and
know.
Yep.
isn't that great? Like this,
strawberries.
like they're rejuvenated or something.
Yeah. In fact, the older plants were all whited out, the leaves and everything, and wimpy. And
Was it Stephanie that said to
Yeah.
cut them down, or
Yeah, cut them down. So,
So
there's
we
like
did
2
that.
inches.
We did that week, and
They've grown right back.
we've
man,
grown right
they're
back.
monsters.
And they look brand new. The leaves are nice and green and whatnot. So
it's crazy.
yeah.
And then
Aye.
our tomato plants just look like, ugh, but they are still
they're
bearing
still
fruit,
producing.
and they're still, so we're just going to limp them to the finish line, I guess.
It's a good.
Yeah.
I don't know what else. I feel bad now that we've taken them out.
Yeah.
Crazy. So it was. I don't know if it was because it was such a long, hot summer or what the deal was, but those strawberry plants are just still going.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's what I've got going.
Well, and he built another box. So.
I did. I did.
And of course, he built it bigger, and he brings in a couple bags of soil and throws it in there. Well, gee, that ain't gonna work. And believe it or not, our tomatoes are still
I mean, that's
producing
and they're
stuff.
still delicious, right?
Yeah. Well, and this year, 2 plants, and I cut them way back. 2 plants just keeps producing fruit.
Somebody, who was it? Oh, my father-in-law, Ricky. We were working on something yesterday and over the weekend, and we were looking at people's gardens, and there was a guy who had a ton of zucchini or something. He goes,
Yeah.
"Boy, you sure don't need a lot to feed yourself."
No.
It's
Especially when it comes to zucchini.
well, especially zucchini.
Yeah.
But it just kind of a few tomato plants, and maybe that's too many. Maybe just one. We have one. Patrice got Kaiser for his birthday, and that's all we needed all season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had 2, which is low for us, but that was more than enough.
Geez, and I've give tomatoes away to everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
And still have some left. And right now they're still a little green or orange, but they ripen up. So Dale was going to pull out the plants, and I said, "Wait a minute! Look at all the tomatoes that are
We're
left
still
on
going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we're
leave
just
it-
going to let it
leave
go
it alone.
until it freezes or they stop producing or whatever.
Yeah.
So
it just because they're ugly."
Yeah, just because they're ugly. That's the other thing. You see that? People throwing away all this food because
Yeah.
it's not Instagrammable,
yeah,
not picture worthy.
unbelievable.
Tastes the same.
Geez.
Or you go to a
Yeah.
deli, or you go to a grocer, and
It's not
everybody
pretty enough.
leaves all the
Yeah.
junky-looking vegetables because they can't take pictures of them.
But that's a good point, Jeff. The food banks always need food. I don't know if they can take fresh vegetables. I don't know why they couldn't.
I think
So if you had
Saints
stuff
Pantry
left
has
over-
has the Hope Garden project that they
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, from somebody from a private party or whatnot, that might be interesting
out.
because certainly that's something that versus throw it away.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Don't throw it away. There's too many people who are hungry and would appreciate it.
For sure. For
So.
sure. All right. Well,
So our adventures have not been too adventuresome lately. I
Yeah.
apologize for that,
Yeah.
but at least we get to come in and talk to you every week.
Right,
nice to see you
in the
guys.
community, we love that. And the Habitat did have their
Yeah, the
event
block
up in
party.
in North Mason. I was not able to attend that. I told them up front.
pictures
So,
look good.
Yeah, so I will find out. I believe there will be a Habitat board meeting today, and we'll find out a little bit about that, and then hopefully get out of that in time to go to the city. So.
Oh yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, tonight at 6:00 again. So that puts a wraps on the adventures. You'll see them tonight here at the Civic Center, 525 West Coda Street, 6:00 tonight for Shelton Out Loud.